Hi guys, T here. You've been sending me quite a few more questions lately, so I thought I'd do another mailbag. We just celebrated our 2,000 subscriber special doing Dungeon Quest, so it's been pretty busy around here lately. I went about 22 hours worth of work into a video that was less than 9 minutes long, so... so... been busy celebrating, in other words, and I was gonna shoot another D&D stories today, but it's been monsooning for the past 2.5 days, so I can't hear myself think, and when I set the camera up anywhere but in this shooting room, you know, it's just the whole time and can't do it. So while I'm waiting for the rain and torrents of water coming down to end, I gathered up all the questions that I've got since the last mailbag and thought we could do another mailbag episode. Let's move the camera just a little bit so I can settle. There we go. Okay, that's better. I've got them all printed out here. From several people, what do you think of D&D next? Well, I really don't have an opinion on it yet because it hasn't been released yet. And I try not to form an opinion on products that are still like in beta unless they've been in beta for like years and years, like the Mighty Quest for Epic Loot and other bullshit games like that they've just released to the public without it being finished, you know? Then I tear it apart. D&D next, not so much. I have heard stories of, you know, it's getting better, it's being refined and tuned, and I heard that in the beginning of D&D Next that clerics didn't have turn undead, like starting at level 1. Like they ran into some skeletons, they were like, "Cleric, turn undead," and he's like, I don't have turn undead. And he's like, "What? Why are you here?" What? And they've since fixed that, I believe. I think clerics start with turn undead again. But I really don't want to get my hands on it until it's like a book or like it's out to like the general public. Then I'm gonna probably look at it, read it cover to cover, do an analysis, and probably several D&D story episodes on it because it's a big deal when a new edition comes out, and 4th edition kind of failed us out, so we'll have to see when it comes out. Until then, I'm kind of withholding judgment until I can get a hold of the finished product. Also from several people, congrats on 2,000 subscribers. How can I get more viewers for my channel? Gosh, I wish I could tell you. I've been striving to get more viewers for my channel for several years now, and I just hit 2,000 subscribers. The best thing I can tell you to do is start doing it because you like it. Don't do it for the popularity. Don't do it for like the AdSense money. Do it as a hobby, and it will build up over time. Like, people are not gonna know who you are for a long time. I think this channel is like 4 years old now. I don't even remember, because I took down my book reviews, and some of those were just ancient videos that I did on a tiny little ball webcam, and nobody watched those. And I did that for like over 2 years, and I never broke 100, never broke 500, you know. This channel didn't take off till I started doing D&D stories. And even then, I was inspired by Noah Antwiler doing Counter Monkey. And, you know, that's kind of how my channel took off. You know, imitation is the sincerest form of flattery, but, you know, now I'm off doing RPGs and board games and things like that. But the root of my channel came from the Spoony one, so I owe everything to him. You know, beyond my first 500 subscribers, you know, it's completely thanks to him doing Counter Monkey that my channel kind of started taking off. The best thing I can tell you to do is to find out what everybody else is doing and then don't do it. Like, you're never going to see me do a Let's Play of Skyrim. You're never going to see me do a Final Fantasy review. You're never going to see me do like a Slender Man game where where it's like me up in the corner screaming when Slenderman. No. Find your own niche, and you will find your own audience. That's the best thing I can say to do. And yeah, there are popular ways to get you more viewers, like, put scantily clad, busty women on your thumbnails, or do controversial topics that are sure to get tons and tons of negative comments, but because they're commenting, you're getting more views and more comments, so your video's popularity is going up. Just try to find something that you like, that you think there's an audience for, that, 90 billion other, like, don't do a Minecraft Let's Play. There's so many people doing those now. You would be lost in the avalanche of other people doing Minecraft Let's Plays. Find your own thing that not a ton of people are doing, and, an audience of some variety will come to find you because they like that. Okay? Like, if I type in Let's Play Skyrim, we're going to pull up, 10,000, 20,000, 100,000 people. But if I type in, Dungeon Quest review, I think there's only 20 or 30 of those. So your chances are much better of getting noticed and getting subscribed to. So find something unique, find your niche, and you'll find your audience. From several people, hey T, how can I find out more about your intro song? What is it called? My intro song is called Hero Fall, and it was done by, originally, the opening jingle was done by Regda Sizor, or Regda Sor. I don't know how to pronounce it. I'll just put it on the screen here so you can see it. And then it was turned into a full, like, with lyrics, rock out kind of song by a guy named Mike Entwistle, or Entwistle. I don't know how to pronounce his last name because I've never heard it out loud. I think he's from, like, Europe. I feel kind of bad because I don't know all the details about the guy that did my own theme song. But it was made specifically for D&D stories, so you're not going to find it on an album or on a CD anywhere. And YouTube can't flag my videos for using it because it was made for D&D stories. If you go around my channel a little bit, I can probably post this up later. I've got several versions of that song, just on different instruments, different people singing, different like tempos to it. I'll probably post up like a medley or something soon enough so you can see them all, and you'll be able to get a closer look at them that way. So yeah, Hero Fall. From several people, why don't you do more campaign stories? I like those best. Well, as I've said many times before, I'm caught up on all of my D&D campaign stories because I've pretty much told them all. So if there's going to be another campaign story, I have to go sit down, play D&D, and then come back and report it to you guys. So, they'll kind of be few and far between from now on, which is why I'm spanning into board games and RPGs and other cool stuff like that to keep the channel alive. I might be reviewing modules soon, just like opening them up and read them cover to cover and then like giving you guys my opinion on them, stuff like that. But as far as like the flow of campaign stories, I don't have any left. Reese No Kaboom just finished like less than a week ago, so we are up to date on D&D stories. Let's see what else. From Frozen Shepherd, have you played Team Fortress 2? Yes. I'm awful at it because it's a shooter. I enjoy it, but I don't sit down to play it very often, unless I just want to blow something up, and I'm really bad at it, so I just get mad. From Fallen Angel, are you intending to play the D&D Next RPG for AD&D? Yeah. When it comes out, and it's, like I said, when it's a complete product, and, it's got the Wizards of the Coast seal of approval, and I can go buy some hardback books of it, and, learn it, and then play it, yeah, I'm gonna see what it's like. From Anonymous, with a space between the N and the Y, so Anonymous. Maybe do a review of Dungeons and Dragons Online, ? Alright. I think it's free to play now, so yeah. Alright, I can do that. I'll add it to my list. I love it, by the way, guys. I love it when you suggest episode ideas, because I run out of ideas so easily, 68, 69 episodes in. So if you want to hear about a certain topic, ask, and I'll do it, I encourage you, request episodes. That's how they get made. The Dungeon Quest episode was a request, and that I put that up for my 2,000 subscriber special. So there you go. From Caltech, maybe you could do a Wheel of Time book series review. From Omri Hamama, I loved the most are the stories from you DMing a solo. Hang on, I've got to analyze the grammar here. What I loved the most are the stories from you DMing a solo campaign with a dude I think named Mattias the Prowler. I hope you can make some more videos about that subject, or maybe a full adventure with recording a session. Oh, okay, so you liked Mattias the Prowler and you want to see more. Okay. Mattias the Prowler's campaign story is over. It was kind of sprinkled through Season 2 and Season 3, so you'll have to look for it. I think all of them are called Mattias and something something, like Harry Potter and something something for the titles. I think there's 4 videos. I'll put up here next to me the episode numbers in the order that they go through the campaign, and that's my own fault, because I couldn't remember all the stuff until I caught Maddie and we went through together everything that had happened, so those episodes are kind of scattered apart. I'll put the numbers of the episodes up here so you can watch them one after the other, but that campaign is over, and I've told all of it. A full adventure with recording a session. Again, and I've had many people ask me to do this, to just set a camera up and play a D&D stories game, but I really can't do that. Number one, because my camera can only record about 90 minutes at a time, and I don't have any money for a giant memory card. And number two, most of my friends are camera shy, and understandably, would you want to sit and play a board game with a camera pointed at you? I wouldn't. And I make reviews for them, so if you're sitting down to have fun and relax, you don't want something to be recording you. It's just not something that's on the docket. I'm sorry. From Werewolf017, have you seen Serpents Tongue? No, I have not. I think that's a board game, isn't it? It's like a card game, board game kind of thing. Also, I want to see you play board games like Talisman, Serpents Tongue, etc. on camera. Do you think you can do that? Technically, I could. Talisman and Dungeon Quest and Agricola and all those can be played with one person, but I'm not sure if there would be much wide appeal for that. It would just be some dude sitting at a table playing a board game by himself. It sounds kind of pathetic when you say it out loud. I'm playing this board game by myself because I don't have any friends. I might do a Dungeon Quest playthrough on its own, just to show you how fast the game can kill you. But I don't know. I don't really see the appeal, especially as a D&D stories episode. I might have it as a side thing so people can see how it works, but it's not at the top of my list. From Kyle Davis. Hey T, can you do a video of what kinds of things a tavern in D&D can have in it, or what heroes and adventurers would do in them? Thanks if you read this. Well, Kyle, that's actually a really good idea. I think I'll do an episode about activities in a tavern because as of late, whenever my adventures, if I'm DMing, my adventures stop in a tavern, I try to give each one of them like a mini game, kind of. Like Reese was a gambler, so I had him kind of play Yahtzee by himself and earn gold based on that. Or, if you wanted to go find a prostitute, you could roll for stamina and earn like a little bit of XP if she gets hers, or just spreading your reputation as an adventurer. If you've got like a poster advertising your services, you can put it here, or gather information and get a little bit of XP from that, or flirt with the bartender to get your overnight stay price to go down. Give everybody a little bit of something. I was actually getting ready to do a tavern episode, so don't worry, you'll see that pretty soon. From Anaru LST, can you give us a D&D story on your Skyrim adventures? Maybe. I mean, it's not. Yeah, you have to understand it from my perspective. Running a YouTube channel and having like a unique niche like I do, D&D stories, it attracts a certain type of audience. And at the same time, you look at Skyrim, and there are 10,000 people. 10,000 people doing let's play Skyrim, or let's play Skyrim as a rogue, let's play Skyrim as a fighter, let's play Skyrim butt naked with all the different mods on that make my boobs huge, let's do Skyrim where we can ride dragons, let's do Skyrim where all the dragons are replaced with Macho Man Randy Savage. There's Skyrim kind of got saturated on YouTube, and just sitting down talking about it, I would either go through like one of the guild quest lines or I would just do, one time when I was wandering around in Skyrim, and that would be like a 5-minute story. So I understand the appeal, but it's, I put my little Coke bottle glasses on. It's a little too like mainstream to warrant like a D&D story, because everybody's played Skyrim, so there's not a lot of like unique stuff that I can surprise people or entertain people with in terms of telling a story about it. So maybe, but not likely as far as dedicating a whole episode to it. I mean, it was my top thing on top 10 things to do between D&D games, so I've put like 80 hours into Skyrim, but I don't think I've had any unique adventures that nobody else has had that warrants a D&D story. So if I'm out of stuff to do sometime in the future, I could put one up as like a filler episode, but it doesn't hold a ton of appeal for me, just kind of because everybody else is doing it. So what am I bringing that's new to the table? Nothing. So it would make me feel guilty doing it because everybody else is doing it. From Fast Sniper Fox. Love the videos, T. Have you ever thought of doing a question and answer show? Ta-da! I think it would be awesome. It is awesome. You're listening to it right now, aren't you? Also, have you seen the Tabletop Simulator game on Steam? I went and looked at it, and it looks freaking amazing. I'm gonna get like a clip of it and put it over the front of me right now. It looks really interesting. If I could and there's gonna be mods to help you play D&D and stuff like that. If that got refined enough to play D&D on, I would definitely play D&D online using the Tabletop Simulator, because everything else just looks like a grid to me, or it looks like it's a little too complicated. The Tabletop Simulator looks really freaking cool. So if it was ever refined to play D&D, definitely. I went and looked at it because of you, and it looks cool. I like it. And it was what, $12, $17? Not bad, considering what you're getting for it. and for those of you that have never heard of Tabletop Simulator, it's basically a table. It's a computer game that simulates a table for you, and then you can, like, it's kind of like Gary's Mod. You can just make stuff in it, like Chinese checkers, chess, checkers. They've already got stuff that kind of simulates D&D a little bit with, like, little tiny monsters and card games and poker and diminishing bridge and all that kind of stuff. It's basically like the modern day version of Hoyle, but it's a physics engine is basically all it is, where you can set up a table and play a game that's meant to be played on a table, and you can still see the table, And then of course, there's like the table flipping option that I hope there's like a checkbox where you can turn that off, where somebody can just grab the table and flip the whole thing and send the pieces everywhere. It's basically just a physics engine that you can load board games onto. So it looks really cool. So I definitely approve. That's really cool, Sniper Fox. Let's see. From YouTube 55, awesome videos. I haven't fully watched to the end yet, but maybe you could have an actual text post in your About section for each video, summarizing the key points of each video. I thought about doing that, but at the same time, I do rely on YouTube for income because I actually got fired last Monday. I worked at a hotel, and then some people came in like 2 hours before check-in time, and I turned them away, and apparently that's enough to get you fired. So I do make money from YouTube, and if people only watch like a couple minutes of my videos, I don't make AdSense money. So if I put all the key points from my advice videos in the About section, then people wouldn't watch the video. So I would, but I need monies. Sorry. I know that's a really lame excuse and that YouTubers don't make a ton of money, but I am kind of strapped for cash right now, so I have to keep all the main points in the video so people will watch it or listen to it. From Luke Roy, following the theme of campaign settings in your last couple of videos, I was wondering if you would do a video on how to run an Underdark themed campaign. I would, but I've never actually done an Underdark themed campaign. I imagine that it comes with its own set of rules, but I've never encountered an Underdark campaign, so I wouldn't know what to tell you. So I could do research. You can read the, I guess, the Drizzt books. Maybe that's an Underdark kind of book. Or D&D 3.5 has a module that takes place in the Underdark. But otherwise, I wouldn't know what to tell you, because I've never done it, and I've never been a part of a campaign that is in the Underdark, so sorry. I don't know what to tell you. From SunKoo91, how do you simulate gambling in a D&D game? It's very simple. I have my players get 5d6, and then they're given 3 rolls to make the best Yahtzee hand they can. And if you don't know what Yahtzee is, look it up. It's a dice rolling game where you get 5 dice and you have to basically make poker hands out of them, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, or 2 2s and 2 3s is a full house, or rolling all the same number is Yahtzee, and that's the best hand, and stuff like that. I basically make them take one turn as though they were playing Yahtzee, and whoever makes the best hand wins. And if they've got like marked cards or something, I let them change one of the dice. And if they've got like a marked cards, like a whole big gambling set of things that are cheating for them, I let them change 2 of their dice. Which really puts it in their favor, but that's why they bought it, so. From the F key, do you prefer to be a player or a DM in your games? I do prefer to be the DM most of the time because I went to school to be an English teacher, and I'm very good at storytelling. I'm very good at organizing, and I've run into some pretty bad DMs that just kind of fly by the seat of their pants and don't take it seriously. I'm a very serious face DM most of the time, so I'm hard pressed to find a DM that I like, and that makes me sound like a jerk, but that's the truth. So, and as far as being a player, I like being a player if I can be level 5 or better, because I've run so many low-level campaigns that I kind of want to see what it's like to run around as mid-level, high-level kind of character, and I never get the opportunity to do that, so, From Tylee Harrig. Tylee Harrig? From Tylee. Could you do an episode on campaign creation? Not out of a module, but all original content. Yeah, sure, I'll do that. I'll add it to my list. From Miles Matheson. Maybe you were throwing the wrong kind of bait at Chris when you were sending barmaids his way. Did you ever think about that? From Consor563, could you do a video on interesting ways to use the leadership feat? Probably. That would take some research, and I'd probably need to read a few articles, because the leadership feat in the book, I think it just says, attracts cohorts to follow your commands or whatever, and that's really all it says. Last I checked. I'll do some research and see what I can find, and maybe do an episode on it, because that is one of the more obscure feats that most people just don't use, because if you get cohorts, then the DM just wants to kill them. So, we'll see what happens. I'll have to do some reading, but I can probably do that as an episode, yeah. Again, episode request will get done. There you go. Send in your requests, I will do them. From Kynan Weiss. Kynan Weiss? From Kynan. My girlfriend wants to get into role-playing, and I was wondering, I play a lot of D&D 4th edition, and I have recently purchased Pathfinder. Which should I start her on? Well, given that you play a lot of 4th edition, you probably know the game better than you do Pathfinder, so you might start her there. Or if you want her to go into a more complex kind of game and just go for it into role-playing games, I'd put her into Pathfinder. 4th edition is a little too streamlined for my taste. It plays very much it doesn't play to me like D&D should. So if you want to get her into role-playing, you might give her a simple game like OVA or 4th edition, and if role-playing is that's the extent of your goals, then yeah, a simpler game would be best. But if you want to get her into role-playing games, like tabletop stuff, 3.5 and Pathfinder are pretty much the way to go. So, don't cut her legs out from under her by giving her a simple game if you want her to join the community as a whole. But if role-playing and playing pretend is the only thing you're after, go for the simplest game that you can find, just so she doesn't have to worry about the rules too much. So, and that is all the questions for this mailbag. So I hope that answered a bunch of your good questions, and I will hopefully see you guys on the next D&D story. So until then, keep gaming.